Hey everyone, a few of you have been asking for my mod list and I finally got it both fixed and uploaded. In the description you'll find a link to the pack that contains a whopping 120 mods, subject to change as time goes on, that are safe to use together. What I would recommend is to make sure that you're running Kadrin's mod manager first. I'll also have that linked below in case for some reason you're not. Then go and make a new profile, you can call it whatever you like, and put all the downloaded mods into that one profile because then you'll know it's safe. As I said, the quantity is subject to change. As I discover more safe mods to use, they'll be added in, and if a mod becomes abandoned or starts acting up in some way, it will be removed. In case you're wondering, the way I look at mods is typically additive. By this I mean I'm less interested in just changing things around, and typically I'm aiming for the most balanced vanilla game possible, though I much prefer to play around with new, unique things rather than try to maintain a vanilla balance. There are a couple tweaks that are in there in terms of balance, but for the most part, it's about opening up new gameplay experiences. With that said, I've broken it down into two separate chunks of stuff, so things that you should basically always leave in, and then stuff that you'll probably like but may want to disable sometimes, with that being personally up to you. So that first section, the one that you'll just always leave on, these include most of the overhauls, the factions, the unique lords and heroes, and the new units. This is where you'll find the really big name stuff like Ajamuk's Tomb Kings mods, Old vs. New's Lost Factions, Parts Legendary Lords, and Chaos Roby's various unit packs. Again, this is definitely the lion's share of the pack. All the ones in this category are fully complete, they are damn near perfectly balanced, so you don't really have to worry about them negatively impacting your load order in any way. An awesome facet about all these is that all these different options can combine to let you make your own unique campaign experiences. They punch way above their weight when combined. I mentioned in the last Tomb Kings extended review that it included the Rakaf Dynasty. Now, if you wanted to make the Rakaf Dynasty even more loreful, you could start your own playthrough as the Rakaf Dynasty, then give yourself, as a player, the stipulation that you must always declare war on trolls, greenskins, and ogres in order to make for the most loreful experience possible. Or you might have seen my video earlier in this week when I started a playthrough combining Ultimate Chaos and numerous Legendary Lord packs on this list. You have a ridiculously fleshed out Lord list of allowing you to run monogod armies without any issue whatsoever. It's not all just new content either. There's some tools in there to make other mods play nicely with one another, or to give you tools for yourself to make your own experience better. The newer mod configuration menu in UIMF combined to let you combine your new content to not only look amazing, but to also tweak it to your heart's content. The LOD mod in there prevents that annoying pop-in between low detail and high detail from distant units. The console command setting allows you to manipulate things if you want something specific to happen in your campaign. Victory Conditions Overhaul gives both vanilla and modded factions new content and objectives to play for. Again, the amount of things this unlocks is a huge blessing, regardless of whether you're playing with new factions or vanilla. Now, there is some stuff in this that I personally like, but I could see if you might not be too fond of all the time, which is what the next section's all about. For this stuff, feel free to take these things out for new campaigns if you like, it won't break anything. Just don't do it in the middle of a playthrough. In general, that's a really bad practice. You usually end up breaking campaigns that way. So anyways, this section contains things like mods that are in beta status, mods that might cause redundant things, mods that might throw balance off, and so on and so forth. While these are fairly minor issues, I still thought you'd want to be aware of them. We've discussed some of these before, including the two new Wood Elf factions in the Lower Lorne Forest and Amber Kingdom mods. Both of these mods are already really awesome, but they are still being actively worked on, and not everything's 100% right now. They're both very clearly in beta status. While I personally leave these on my mod list, I can understand some players wanting to wait until those mods are perfectly complete. As for the redundant side, I really just have one glaring example, that being of Men and Monsters. This is an awesome, huge mod that adds in over 100 units to the game, the only issue being a few of them that exist in this mod exist in others as well. I'm sure some of you have noticed in my Beastmen playthroughs that I have 2 Gorgons, 2 Tuskor Chariots, 2 Chaos Trolls, etc. Well, that's because a lot of my Beastmen mods already added in a version of that unit already, which means that adding it in with this mod makes for a redundant unit stack. Now, while I wish I didn't have those, and I suppose I could edit the pack file for my own personal copy to eliminate the redundant units, it just doesn't bother me enough to take it out, especially when the mod adds so many more unique units that you can't find anywhere else. If desired, I might make a video down the road about how to do basic mod tweaks to fix stuff like this in your own mod lists, if that's something that interests you all. Let me know after the video's done. As for mods that do impact balance, there's a few on here, some of which you know about already. Tier 4 Minor Settlements, for example, makes the Lizardmen go from alright in vanilla campaign to exceedingly powerful in the campaign after this. And I've previously mentioned how the RBO Necromancer can pop up where he's not supposed to, which can impact balance on mods like Return of the Lich Master. Both Nanu's Pirates of Certosa and Mixu's Vangeist are effectively just better versions of the Vampire Coast, which effectively render the default Vampire it's a little bit pointless, and they struggle very little with most of the vanilla races. Lastly, the home region movement bonus can be a huge quality of life improvement when you're on the good side of it, and horribly frustrating and annoying when you're stuck on the other side of it, especially if you're playing as a Horde faction. Again, these mods are all meant for single player, so I don't particularly care about balance all too much, but just understand that these are not always going to line up perfectly with vanilla. I don't have any egregious changes though, like Steel Faith Overhaul or anything else that will completely blow balance out of the water, so there's nothing insurmountable to balance here, it's just small things. Now, I guarantee that this mod contains compatibility with all the mods on this list, but this does not mean it will be compatible with every other mod out there on the workshop. There are some very notable mods on here that will have either a hard conflict or soft conflict with plenty of other mods. What I mean by each of those is a hard conflict is like it simply will crash the game or prevent it from loading a new campaign if you try to do it, whereas a soft conflict will allow things to launch and run, but it just might interfere with some facets or require settings changes or submods in order to work properly. So owing to Mixu's unlocker, anything that edits start position, such as Krinsauce's unlocker, will be a hard conflict. The Medallion of Chakol mod that's in this and the Chieftain of the Deep Warrens are unfortunately a one or the other kind of deal. They are a hard conflict with one another. Steel Faith Overhaul, closer to tabletop, and unit caps, all those kinds of things will all be soft conflicts, meaning you can run them, but the balance is going to swan dive off a cliff when doing so. The mods that are on this list are all designed for vanilla. The Reborn Kislev mod was very temperamental when I was using it. I'll keep an eye on it, but at the moment it seemed to screw up a lot of other mods that are on the list, so I'll make another pass at it down the road to make sure, but as of now it's taken off the list. Lastly, Old vs. New's Lost Factions has a soft conflict with one of the Blood Dragon mods out there, and a hard conflict with the other Blood Dragon mod out there. Now, if you do so choose to run one of those two other Blood Dragon mods in your own load order, not the end of the world, but just go into the mod configuration menu and disable the Old vs. New Blood Dragons faction from there. Anyways, for the full entire list of what this contains, just go ahead and click the description down below to see it on the workshop. And if you have any mods that you want to see reviewed and potentially added into the list, submit them here and I'll take a look. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll chat with you all soon.